Alright guys, so do you like the look of the Seiko Sports Field, but you're a little bit disappointed with the specs? Well, if that's the case, then this might be the watch for you, because not only does it have better specs, it's also cheaper as well. So this is actually the first time I'm checking out a watch from this brand, so it's Milifortic. I've heard some good things about him, and I've seen a couple of videos which they look pretty good, so I thought I'd better check one out for myself. So this is the review of the Milifortic M097. So this is the case it comes in, with the branding on there, so you can actually carry a couple of watches or watches and straps. And then here is the actual watch. So I've got the green dial version, it's got a really nice sunburst on it, but if you're not keen on this one, they do actually do a black one as well. And then you also get a choice of straps as well, so you can get this NATO strap, or you can get it on a leather one. Obviously if you get the black dial, you'll get a different colour strap, I think it's a black one, and then the leather ones are different as well. So check the links down in the description so you can see all the different ones and which one you want to go for if you are interested. So before we go into more detail on the dial, first of all let's go over the dimensions. So we've got a diameter of 39mm, thickness of 11.7, lug width of 20, and then the all important lug to lug is coming in at 45.9. So that is a nice compact lug to lug there, so should fit quite a lot of different wrists. And then when it comes to the weight on this NATO strap, that's coming in at 85 grams. Obviously with the leather one, that will be slightly different. So I'll quickly show you that before we get onto the head of the watch. So we'll start with the hardware, and that is unbranded, and it's kind of bead blasted I think, or sandblasted. Nicely done. As is all the stitching, and overall it's a good quality NATO strap, not too hard or anything, nice and flexible. So moving on to the case back, it's a sterile case back, I'm not going to show you because there's nothing to really show. It is a screw down one though. But now let's move on to the head of the watch. So we've got that signed crown there with that stylized MF logo. Do quite like that. And then we've also got those crown guards, but they aren't too big to get in the way of actually using that crown. A fully brushed case, nice little bit of curvature to the lugs as well. And you can see we have actually got a little polished chamfer on the bottom of that bezel. That crystal is sticking out ever so slightly past the top of that, and it is slightly curved too. And we'll be checking soon if that is sapphire. So now let's move on to the dial though and talk about that. So now we're zoomed in. You can probably see a bit better, that really nice prominent sunburst. I do like that a lot. That's the main reason I opted to go for this green one over the black. I just think it's a bit more dynamic. And you can probably also see now as well, we've actually got that raised minute track, so that's on a separate level to the rest of the dial. And then it is a fully printed dial, nothing applied. So you've got that Milifortic branding at the top, water resistance 100 meters and automatic down at the bottom. And then obviously you can't miss that big day date there. So that might put some people off. They might think it's taking up too much real estate on the dial. I personally don't mind it though, but if you aren't a fan of that, I'll leave a link to a watch up on the top that you might prefer instead. So when it comes to the hands, we've got some nice polishing on them, and obviously they're Lume filled, so we'll be checking the Lume in a bit. So because the setup we've got with this dial with that raised minute track, the second hand doesn't go to the edge of the dial, it just goes to the edge of where that raised section starts, and then the hour and minute hands are sized accordingly, and then we've got a little splash of red on that second hand. So the only thing I'd probably really change about the dial is instead of having the Milifortic branding on there, I'd use that just stylized MF logo they've got on the crown. I think that'd fit quite well. And perhaps get rid of the automatic text as well. There's a bit too much down there for my liking. The less on the dial the better in my opinion, as you guys already know. But now, let's test out whether we have actually got sapphire crystal on this or not. Using the trusty diamond selector tool. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal, so that's always good to see. So now, let's get onto the movement and talk about that. Show you that in action. So we've got an NH36 for this one. So if I unscrew the crown, and then pop it out to the first position, we can then change the day, turn it the other way, you can change the date. And then if we pop it out again, you'll see the second hand stops, so we go hacking. And obviously we can just change the time then. And then if we pop it back in, the second hand will re-engage. Hand winding, all works well. They're just as rock solid and reliable as the NH35, just with the added complication of having a day. And then again, it's easy to screw back down. These crown guards don't get in the way, and it's a nice grippy crown. So now you probably want to know what the Lume's like. Is it any good with it being a fully printed dial, or is that going to fade before the hands do? So here it is, and it's looking pretty good initially. Got that nice ice blue colour of the BGW9. And it's actually surprisingly consistent across the hands and the indices, despite it being a fully printed dial. And there's no patchiness either, so that is good to see. And then we've even got a bit of Lume on that second hand as well. But now let's speed this up and see what the longevity is like. So to begin with, not looking too bad. But as we go on, you are going to notice that, as you probably expected, the dial is going to fade quicker than the hands do, but not as much as you'd think. I was actually pleasantly surprised with that. I thought it might have faded pretty quickly, and there's still no patchiness there either, so again, that is also good. So overall, pretty impressive Lume. The dial does eventually fade, but the hands last a pretty good amount of time. So I think it's shaping up to be a pretty impressive watch. Obviously it's not perfect, there are a few things that I would tweak and change maybe. So we'll go over the pros and cons, and then show you what it's like on wrist, so you can make a fully informed decision whether you want to pick one of these up or not. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. So I think it looks really good. And as you guys already know, I like to wear my NATOs with the bulk underneath. I just think it gives a cleaner overall look and a less bulky kind of look as well. But however you wear yours, you'll be able to get the perfect fit because there's plenty of adjustment there. One thing that I would like to see a bit different is the finishing on the hardware on this though. Would have been nice if it actually matched the case. When it comes to the head of the watch, I think that wears nicely as well. Nice bit of curvature to those lugs, and also nice compact lug to lug as well. It's not too thick either, and again I do like having that fully brushed finish, and just breaking it up slightly with that nice polished edge running along the bottom of the bezel. But the star of the show is definitely that sunburst dial for me. I absolutely love that, so dynamic, and then we've also got a little bit of depth to that dial as well with that raised minute track. And as I said earlier, the only thing I'd really change on that dial is just have the MF logo instead of the full name, and just reduce some of the text down at the bottom as well. But that's pretty much it in terms of cons. If I'm being really nitpicky, perhaps you could have a few more layers of Lume on the dial, but for fully printed, it's pretty good, and because the hands last longer, you can still use it anyway. I definitely think the positives outweigh the negatives with this one. As I say, you got that beautiful dial, you got the NH36 movement with that day-date complication, and although the case finishing is simple, it's nicely done. You've got that sapphire crystal as well, and also the choice of straps. So why would you pay more to get the Seiko, and then have to pay extra on top of that to upgrade bits and include things like sapphire? So if you agree with me and you do want to pick one up, I'll leave the links down in the description as always. But if you want something similar to this, but you don't want that day-date complication, I'll leave a link to something else at the end, so check that one out. But that's it for this one guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.